Hello, everyone. It is Thursday, and we are back with our leadership series, part three. I'm going to give you guys a few minutes to come in. While you are doing that, I'm going to get myself together and ready and share. As always, I will put the hashtags to share in the comments. If you are tuning in, please drop your name in the chat and where you're from so we can know who is tuning in. I'm sure I'm missing something. Hey, Dr. Chastity. Hey, Ebony. Marion checking in tonight. All right, guys. The hashtag should be showing up in the chat in a little bit. If you would share this to all of your social media outlets and include those hashtags for me. While we are waiting, I am going to give some announcements. I'll share them again at the end of the broadcast, but I do. Give me 1 second, y'all. Okay, hold on. All right, I had to make sure my screen was ready. All right, so I'm going to share a couple of announcements and I will reshare them at the end of the session. So, as some of you know, if you follow me on social media or you follow RG Coaching Consulting on social media, I have released the newest additions to my product line. And I am wearing one of my tees on tonight. So this is a part of the classic collection. It is a collection of pop culture tees as well as coffee mugs for men and women. The tees are just for women right now. Men, we're working on your line. But go to my website and check these out. It is Christmas time and it's time to start shopping and time to start dropping those gifts. So go ahead and go to rgcoachingconsulting.org and check out the products. I guarantee you will not be disappointed. Also, on December 11th, I will be hosting the masterclass Confident Not Conceited. You can go to the website as well and check out information on that and registration information. We want to try and get people registered as soon as possible so that we can have accurate information and everything ready for you when we start class on December 11th. And again, we are hosting the Pre-Distinguished Leadership Development Program for teens starting in February. And this year, this cohort is going to be totally free. So if you know any teenagers ages 14 to 18 or 9th through 12th grade that will be interested in attending this cohort, please go to the website as well and they can register for that. This will be totally free for the youth. However, if you would like to sponsor a youth by purchasing a manual for them that they will need during this cohort, you can go to the website and do that as well. Everything is listed under shop, the masterclass, the products, Pretty Distinguished, all of that is listed under shop on the website. So if you want to contribute, if you want to purchase, go ahead and click on over there and see what we have in store for you. I'm going to wait 1 more minute and then we are going to get started on tonight. I think tonight is going to be a treat. This is something that one of our registrants wanted addressed. So we're going to talk about it tonight in about 30 more seconds. I hope everybody is doing well tonight. If you're tuning in, please drop your name and city in the chat. and share to your social media outlets for me, please. I would be so appreciative. And use the hashtags that are located in the chat. All right, guys, we are going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen now. And so tonight we are going into part 3 of our 4-part leadership series. And tonight we are going to be talking about servant leadership. And that is something that I think everyone who is a leader needs to understand. Everyone who's aspiring to be a leader needs to understand. And so we're going to hit the tip of the iceberg on tonight. We're not going to get too deep, but I do want to share some insights that I believe are pertinent to you in leadership. Hello, Shanquetta. Hello, Angela. Got my tribe on the line. I appreciate you guys. All right, so let's get started. And as always, if you see me looking away, it's because I'm looking at my screen to make sure I am on task. All right, y'all know how we kick it off. So you're going to drop some information in the chat, and I want us to be honest and real. Servant leadership. Do you think that you are a servant leader? Don't just quickly drop that, but really think. Do you think that you are a servant leader? And then I want you to name 2 servant leaders that you know. It can be someone, it could be a celebrity, it could be someone local. But name 2 servant leaders and then answer the question if you think you're a servant leader or not. And I'm trying to watch on 2 platforms, y'all, so forgive me for going back and forth. Okay, Chastity said yes. Shanquetta Carolyn Barnes and Sierra Rosler. I hope I did not destroy that last name. Shanquetta said yes. I can attest to Chastity and Shanquetta. You 2 are definitely servant leaders. Okay, Angela. Absolutely. You're working on it, and he is the utmost servant leader. Yes. Your mom. Okay, Chastity. All right, we got the mamas on the line. Shout out to all the moms who are servant leaders. Some people don't think about that as a leadership position. If you are a mother, you are definitely in a leadership position. All right, guys, we're going to move forward. Thank you for sharing. Now, I will tell you in the beginning, now I am a PowerPoint person, so I have a real pet peeve when PowerPoints are kind of wordy. But I wanted to put this information on here because I felt like it was important enough to make my PowerPoint a little bit wordy. So I will read the majority of it so you don't have to strain your eyes. But, let's move forward. Okay, servant leadership is a philosophy that focuses on building and enhancing the lives of others. According to Robert K. Greenleaf, the servant leader is servant first. The servant leader is servant first. I'll let that marinate a minute. Being a leader means that you want to assist others in accomplishing a job or goal. It does not mean that you are trying to dictate anything. As a servant leader, you understand that helping others discover their best potential is what will ultimately accomplish tasks and goals. Servant leaders focus on the growth of people and organizations. Servant leaders do not seek to hoard power, but share power. I'm going to read that again. Servant leaders do not seek to hoard power, but share power. Servant leaders seek to develop others and not destroy others. There are 10 characteristics of servant leadership: empathy, listening, awareness, healing, conceptualization, persuasion, stewardship, foresight, community building, and commitment to the growth of others. And I'll let that pause for a moment if you are taking notes so that you can jot that down. Ebony, I see that you said you would like to think so, but can always use help to make sure you're being a servant leader. That is proof that you are a servant leader. Servant leaders are always looking to tweak what it is that they do and how they lead others. So excellent response. All right. Okay, guys. Hope you got your notes. We're moving forward. Okay. Out of those 10 characteristics that I just listed, and I'll go back to them, Which of the, that's worded wrong, which of those 10 do you identify with the most? And which of those 10 do you identify with the least? And I'll go back to them. Which of the characteristics that I just mentioned do you identify with the most? And which of the 3 do you identify the least? And I'll go back. All right. The 10 are down here. Empathy, listening, awareness, healing, conceptualization, persuasion, stewardship, foresight, community building, and commitment to the growth of others. I'll give you about 45 seconds. Drop in the chat which 3 you identify with the most, which 3 you identify with the least, and let me know which is which. Which do you identify with the most, and which do you identify with the least? Okay. I need to improve on persuasion too, Chastity. That's that salesperson part. Yeah, I have got to improve on that. Definitely. Which do you identify with the most, and which do you identify with the least? Drop it in the chat if you are not afraid to share. About 15 more seconds, guys. Okay, we're a little shy tonight. That's okay. All right, I'm going to move forward. Again, if you're just tuning in, would you mind sharing on your social media outlets and drop the hashtags that are on your screen? And I would be so grateful. Thank you. All right, so for the sake of time, we're only going to talk about 3 of the characteristics of servant leadership: empathy, stewardship, and commitment to growth of others. Again, empathy, stewardship, and the commitment to the growth of others. Empathy is necessary for effective leadership. Empathy is defined as the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. Why is this necessary as a leader? You cannot properly lead people you do not care about. And I'm going to pause for a minute. You absolutely cannot properly lead people you do not care about. And people know if you genuinely care. Empathy gives you the power to know if the people you are leading are being affected positively by your leadership. Empathy gives you insight and helps you to strategize concerning teams and organizational structure. There are 2 types of empathy that we'll focus on: cognitive, and that is defined as knowing how another person feels and what they might think. Emotional is defined as physically feeling what another person feels. So cognitive, you kind of got an idea of what's going on in the person's head. Emotional, you actually connect to that physical feeling of that person. When someone loses a parent or a loved one, you can empathize if you've been in that place before. You can feel their hurt. You can feel their pain. So you are actually connected to that person emotionally. Cognitive, you have an understanding of what's going on, and you have an understanding of their emotions that may be involved, and you can mentally connect. Okay. Sometimes you are cognitively and emotionally connected, and that's a good thing. All right. So take 45 seconds and think about a time when you needed empathy from a boss or some other leader. Did you receive it? If so, how did it make you feel? If not, how did it make you feel and what did you do? Take 45 seconds to think on that. I see you, Chastity, that you're cognitive. That's good to know. You have to be self-aware. I think mine is situational. I can go between cognitive and emotional. I'm almost sure of that. All right, 45 seconds. When you needed empathy, did you receive it? If you did, how did it make you feel? If you didn't, how did that make you feel? And you can drop it in the chat. I might have to start doing these on Zoom so we can have somebody share out. Absolutely, Chastity. Feeling valued. That is what we are going for. Anytime someone expresses empathy or displays empathy, you feel valued. Well, you should feel valued. I'll say that. Excellent. Anybody else want to drop in the chat? Oh, Angela, I just saw your comment that the ones you identify with the most are community building, stewardship, and conceptualization, and the least foresight, healing, and awareness. That's a conversation we're gonna have separately. Because I don't know if I agree with all of that. You have very good foresight. All right, guys, we're gonna move forward. But continue to think on that. If you want to share, drop it in the chat. All right. So now that we've got an overview of empathy, let's move forward to stewardship. Okay. Stewardship is defined as supervising or taking care of something. That's a simple term. Okay. As a leader, you take responsibility for the performance of your team. As a leader, remember when we learned about leaders and managers, leaders take responsibility, managers tend to blame, okay? So as a leader, you take responsibility for the performance of your team. You reflect on what your team does. It is your responsibility to take care of the team that has been assigned to your leadership. Pause right there for a minute. It's your responsibility to take care of the team that has been assigned to your leadership. Now, whether that team is a team that you are over at work, whether that team is your children, whether that team is your household, whether that team is a group that you lead at church, a social group that you're a part of, a civic organization that you're a part of, whatever team that you are assigned, it is your responsibility to take care of that team. Now, does that mean you take on the burdens of the team? No, that is absolutely not what I'm saying. But because they're under your leadership, you have a responsibility to make sure that your team is good. You can't make everybody good, but it is your responsibility to find out. Okay? Stewardship is making sure that each team member is allowed to maximize their talents and grow. Stewardship says, I'm thankful for you being on my team, but my goal is to develop you to have your own team one day. Stewardship does not hoard, but expands and flourishes. Okay? And the only story that came to me when I was doing this was a story about the gentleman in the Bible who were given the talents, and the one who went and buried and hid it, the one who invested in Chastity, don't start nothing. I'm going to get to that. Okay. The one who went and did a partial investment, the one who invested and got, a 100-fold return. They were good stewards, the ones who invested and did what they needed to do. But the one who just had it and hid it, that was an example of a leader who's not effective. Okay. Good leaders, you invest in your team members and you look for a 100-fold return. When they are able to lead a team on their own, you have taken care of your team. You have developed them. You have helped them grow, and you have helped them become, and this can sound bad, your replacement. When you have a team, you should always be seeking to train your replacement. And that doesn't mean that you're trying to leave anytime soon, but you want to train them or help lead them so well that they're able to do your job. All right, what's a good example of displaying good stewardship in leadership? You can drop that in the chat. Yeah, my every week is something. This week is my jump drive. All right. Chastity, a good question is who's going to take care of the leader? That's something that we are definitely going to get to on next week. Okay. Absolutely. Yes, Jesus does take care of us, Chastity. But he's also placed some people here to help take care of us. So, what's a good example of stewardship that you guys have? Someone drop an example in the chat. Mentorship, yes, absolutely. Mentorship is a good example of stewardship. Excellent. When you take someone under your wing and you are able to mentor them and you give them the candid view of what you're doing, then that is definitely maintained. That is definitely something that is showing good stewardship. All right. You can continue to drop your comments in the chat, guys. Okay. Next, commitment to the growth of others. That is purposely planning for the personal and professional development of your team members. Oftentimes, we think that as leaders, we can only contribute to the professional development of our team members, and that is not true. We must be balanced in our approach when it comes to our team members. So we look for personal and professional ways to help them develop. As a leader, you recognize the intrinsic value that your team members have as motivation to work. What is intrinsic? Something that is going to mean something to them from the inside out. Something that is going to matter to them here first. Okay? Intrinsic is an inside, an inward motivation to see something on the outside. All right? You provide intentional and valuable learning opportunities for your team members. You plan financially for personal and professional development programs. That is, if you are working in a company, you look to increase your budget in those areas. Now, can it be pulling teeth sometimes to find money to invest in your team members? Absolutely, it can. But if you can find the money and you can prove that the investment will be worth it, then you have done an excellent job as a leader. But you plan financially for personal and professional development programs. You listen to suggestions, entertain ideas, and you incorporate team members in decision making. Remember, leaders are not a one-man show. Leaders look for input. They build on input. Do you have to take every suggestion given to you? No. But you do listen because you have this group of capable people that either you hired or someone placed in your area to be over. So you have to start looking and peeping and seeing who has what and who doesn't have this, and understanding that you don't know it all. You never will. And you have this group of people who are more than able and capable of providing information to you to help the whole dynamic run a lot smoother. Okay. Again, you listen to suggestions, you entertain ideas, you incorporate team members in decision making. And when I say listen to suggestions, I'm not just saying you let them talk in a meeting and then nothing else happens. You actively listen to what they're saying, because a lot of times when we are in leadership positions, we don't see the groundwork as much. And it's a lot that's going down in that area that we need feedback from. We need to know what is going on so we can make effective decisions. So listen to the suggestions and entertain ideas and incorporate team members in your decisions. Okay. Excellent, Chastity. You have mentees and a volunteer leadership team. That is absolutely awesome. Yes. All right. We're moving kind of quickly this week, but that's okay. It's still great information. All right. Servant leadership is thinking of others before you, remembering the team matters, and not being afraid to be humble. As leaders, we have to remember that humility precedes leadership. Humility and serving precede leadership. You cannot effectively lead without serving. Okay? I need that to marinate in somebody's mind. You cannot effectively lead without serving. Now, you might be an excellent manager and you might get the job done, but that doesn't mean that you were totally effective. Just because you see productivity does not mean that it was done efficiently or effectively. It just means a task was accomplished. Okay? When something is done effectively and efficiently, you see everything flourish. The people, the product, whatever it is that's being produced, the service that's being provided, it's all flourishing. And everyone who is a stakeholder is flourishing and excited and happy and receiving. It is an exchange that wants to be continuous. Okay. To fully walk in servant leadership, you must be a good steward. Okay. You must be empathetic and you must be committed to the growth of others. So I want you to take 45 seconds to create. No, I'm gonna get no. We got some time tonight. I'm gonna give you guys a minute, an actual minute, to create 3 personal goals for effective communication. I'm not communication, y'all. I'm sorry. This is what happens when you're doing multiple things at one time. You're going to create 3 personal goals for servant leadership. What is it that you're going to do as far as being a good steward? What is it that you're going to do as far as being empathetic? And what are you going to do to be committed to the growth of others? Go ahead and drop that in the chat. I'm going to give you guys 60 seconds, a full minute to think and type. Type and think, whichever way it works for you. I'll stop sharing my screen for just a minute. You got about 17 seconds left. All right. You can drop your answers in the chat if you would like to share out. Why is it important to create goals? Because servant leadership is not something that haphazardly happens. Servant leadership is something that you have to be intentional and purposeful about. You don't just become a servant leader. That is something that's a daily practice. So you need to create goals. You need to set goals on a quarterly basis, I would say, so that you can make sure that you're continually meeting the goals that you set previously and that you're aspiring to go even higher. If you already take care of your team, ask them what it is that you can do better, because we're always improving, we're always growing, and we are always tweaking. All right. Well, guys, that is what we have for tonight, servant leadership. Again, if you would like the companion to this leadership series, you can go to my website and download Leadership 101, the manual. And it's more of a reflective piece. So it's going to give you some questions at the end of each principle, and you'll have that opportunity to do some personal development while you are building your leadership arsenal. Thank you so much to everyone who tuned in on tonight. I appreciate you. You guys, some of you have been here every week, and I do appreciate you being present. You shared, and you have let me know what you're gaining from this, and this is helping me as well. Again, if you would, please share this with your social media outlets. The hashtags are located in the chat. And we are definitely looking forward to the closeout of the leadership series, because I think that it's going to be something that's going to hit everybody in a good way, of course. So make sure that you tune in. We'll be back on not next Thursday, because next Thursday is Thanksgiving, and I will be somewhere with a plate in my hand. Round 6. But we will be back on December 2nd at 8 p.m. here on Facebook Live. Thank you all so much. You guys are so awesome. You make this easy to do. Again, head over to my website, rgcoachingconsulting.org. You can catch the She Did That tea for my girls who are out there doing the dang thing. Celebrate you, celebrate your accomplishments. If you want to contribute to the Pretty Distinguished Leadership, those students, they have free admission for this cohort, but we do have a manual that they will use. If you want to contribute and purchase a manual for them, you can do that as well. Also, again, on December 11th, the Confident Not Conceited Masterclass will begin. This is a 2-part class, but the first one will take place on December 11th, and all of the details and information are on the website. Don't forget December 2nd. Don't tune in next Thursday. December 2nd, we will be back for the final part of this 4-part Leadership 101 series. Share and tell a friend, and I will see you guys in a couple of weeks. Have a happy and wonderful and safe Thanksgiving, and we'll see you soon.